This is the Amp Hour Podcast. Released November 21st, 2021. Episode 567. The Rodeo Drive of Electronics.
Welcome to the Amp Hour. I'm Dave Jones from the EEV blog.
And I'm Chris Gamble of Contextual Electronics.
1 hour late. Well, 1 hour early.
Yeah, whatever.
Early.
You know,
you got totally confused by time zones that didn't change.
Time is a circle.
Now, come on, you can't blame it on the
that
time zones this time because it hasn't changed, has it?
I don't even know. It doesn't even matter anymore. Did you ever see that though? It was I think it was True Detective, where it's like Matthew McConaughey and he goes crazy. He's just like he loses his mind. He just keeps going, man, time is a circle.
Nope.
Time's a circle.
Sorry,
great.
Sounds too American for me.
No, it's really good. It's really good.
All right.
Very, very good thriller. Classic.
Okay.
Let's talk jelly beans. I saw you've been making some jelly bean videos.
More jelly bean components. I kind of enjoy this jelly bean series.
Yeah.
I've only done 2 so far, but I could probably do a dozen of these videos with top 5 jelly bean parts in every category.
Skip resistors.
Yeah, that's right. Top 5 resistors are.
Yeah. And the award goes to.
I mean, you could just do it on every. I mean, how many categories of chips are there? I guess you could just go through the DigiKey, category list of parts, and you could go, well, top 5 in every. There's probably 100 different categories or something.
I think the real problem is that everything's changing right now. It's like, oh yeah, that was the top 5 this week. You can't get those anymore.
But that's the definition, right? If you can't get it anymore, man, it no longer becomes jelly bean.
Yeah, I guess so. So what do you have to? What's your criteria? Having multiple of the same SKU or the same part?
Well, the criteria is it's generally old, right? So that means it's been around for a lot. And if it's old, that's when it gets copied by multiple manufacturers. If it's only a couple of year old chip, it likely hasn't been copied yet, right? Or
that's a good question. Have you seen anything that's been released in the past 20 years that has been copied in terms of part numbers? Like true copy number, right? So there's 14 people that make an LM317, right? But
you're right. Off the top of my head, no. But I'm sure there is. Leave it in the comments.
Do they start litigating around?
Yeah, I know.
Start litigating maybe? I don't know.
I don't know. Leave it in the comments, please. Now, somebody actually brought this up in the previous video. They said, how can these companies just copy the LM317 or the LM324 or something, right?
Sure.
How can somebody just copy it? And I actually don't know the reason behind it, but somebody had a good reply saying, oh, this actually stems back to the early days of semiconductors, 1970s, where most of these jelly bean parts come from, in the early 80s, where there were these government requirements for the military that they had to have multiple sourced parts. So it's like, oh, okay, TI have a patent on this, new op-amp, but sorry, guys, the government wags their finger and says, you've got to let everyone else make it because the military need it. So therefore, so I wonder if, please, if anyone knows, is that still a thing, or is that the actual reason?
On the sourcing side, there almost definitely is. I think there's so my buddy's in sourcing for government level stuff, and not the super high end, not the super crazy stuff, NSA level, but government contract, that sort of thing. Yeah. And they have some very interesting stringent requirements, which I'm sure I'm going to get wrong. I'll caveat my answer here. But I know one, because I hear him complain about it, is that the board houses and the assembly have to be in the US, right? And that sort of makes sense. But the problem is, right, something we talked about a couple weeks ago, is that they just keep buying each other, right? And so for a long time, it wasn't that big a deal, where it was this,
Exactly. You had your TI, your National, and your analog devices.
I actually meant on the board house even. So the board houses, right? So for a long time, they were mom and pop shops, and it didn't matter that much it was really large geometry stuff. So it wasn't super stringent. They had a quality control that they had to go through, whatever. But then as things have gotten more and more complex, including what the designers at these contractors do, it's now that starts to get narrowed down, and there's more consolidation, and then there's fewer and fewer board houses that can do this sort of thing. Layer on top of that all of the shortages, and all the requirements. And it's like, oh my God, like they're down to like 3 houses. They mandatorily have to get like 2 or 3 bids for every
Yeah.
job. And
Yeah.
so now they keep bidding the same stuff to the same
Uh-huh.
people. And so basically competition's out the window then as well, right? So you have like all of these layering compounding effects. And it's just,
Uh-huh.
my friend is
Oh
a very
yeah.
angry person.
I've got experience in this field. I
Yeah,
used to
yeah,
work for
yeah,
military companies, right? That
yeah.
was my bread
So
and
so
butter.
when you did it, what was that also, that was in country requirements?
Sometimes it depends on what you work with. And this is
Hmm.
why, from the PCB side of things, for example, this is why, yes, this is why the up until fairly recently, there was only one PCB manufacturer left in this entire country,
Yeah. Yep. Right.
like bareboard manufacturer. They're called Lintech, Lintek. And they were the only manufacturer in all of Australia, right, for
Hmm.
bareboard PCBs. The only reason they still existed is because of the government contracts,
Yep. Yep.
right?
Yep.
And they
Yep.
make high-end boards. Don't bother go into them with your little, 4-layer tin pot,
Yep.
Arduino hat or whatever. It's just not going to
Well, you
happen.
can if you have
Well,
$10,000
you can if you want
and
to pay
6
the
weeks,
money.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Oh no, they'll turn it overnight for you.
Oh,
They'll
well,
do it
yeah, yeah, yeah.
overnight,
That's true.
right? But yeah, so they do all the like exotic manufacturing processes and everything like that.
Mm.
And yes, we would often use those for the military stuff. It depends on what it was. If it was just like if it was designed to go into the actual military product, then yes, it had to come from them, right?
Hmm.
But if it was just like a production test jig or something like that, it like meh, like I can just use anyone I want, right? It
Yeah.
didn't really matter.
Yeah.
But if it went into the actual military product, yes, we had certified suppliers, and you'd go out to their site and certify them as well.
Yes.
Any
Right. Right.
like often I've gone out to a some new supplier, and we had to certify them. They had to make molds, or they had to make something or other, right? And
Hmm.
wire cables and things like that. You'd have to go out and certify them. And God, the
Sure.
paperwork involved in that was just insane. But yeah,
Yeah. It
that's the
sounds
only reason
boring.
the board manufacturer that was the only board manufacturer left in the country because of the government
Right. Right.
contracts.
I've heard that actually folds back on itself too, right? So now, like, you think about like this over time. So you have someone like Lintech, and they are the only option, and they have kind of a cornered market there, and they
Mhm.
can raise their prices, and maybe they have higher prices, or maybe they
Oh, I'm
have
sure I
domestic
haven't
labor
ordered
requirements
from
that
them
are,
for a long
yeah,
time.
right. But like, there maybe are just higher costs for operating a smaller operation
Of
with
course. Yeah,
specialized
yeah.
labor in a higher cost country. Like all of those things kind of compound up. But like
Mm,
normally what would happen in an industry, right? And like a true market system would be like, okay, you'd have other people entering the market, and the cost pressures drive things down and whatever. But because it's like a non-liquid market, that it doesn't actually move, right? And so then,
mm.
so what I've heard about as well is on the machinist side of things in the US. Again, this is anecdote, could all be wrong, but I've heard from someone I know who was in the machining industry. They said, you could go and get a mold made for an injection molded plastic thing
Yeah.
for anything you want, right? At very high quality in the US, right? This is at US specific for my story. You can go and get a mold made, but it's very, very expensive. And it's like,
Mhm.
why hasn't price pressure ever driven that down? And the answer is because it's also still propped up by medical companies that are willing and or have to pay
Exactly. Yep.
for local stuff, or
That's right.
military companies that have to source stuff locally. And so really there is no, it is a non-liquid market. So it's not actually pushing the pricing down. Same thing
Yep.
for board houses and whatever, right? There are some very realistic costs, right? But if you look at a long-term type of thing, you'd think automation would drive these sort of things down. It's actually, some of it is in military industrial type stuff that's propping it up, because there are
Mhm.
these requirements that drive higher costs, sure, but also it's limiting the number of people that enter their market. And yeah, so just econ 101. There's the supply and demand curve is a little skewed. So it's interesting how it works, but
It's
sucky,
crazy.
because if you want to see lower cost stuff in your country, like
Yep.
to just drive more industry, it's like, oh
Exactly.
well, that's gonna kind of limit things.
Yep. We do now have one extra PCB manufacturing house here. It was Circuit Labs, who were in New Zealand. They're now moved to Australia. That was like just before COVID, so I'm not sure if they ever opened or not yet,
Yeah,
or
got it.
what's actually happening with that. So COVID would have really screwed around with that. But yeah, that was kind of exciting. It's like we've doubled our number of PCB houses
Look at this
in this
growth
country.
rate.
Yeah, exactly, 100% growth rate a year.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. Speaking of PCBs, the Euro Circuit factory, which people in Europe, I've never used.
I hadn't even heard about this until the fire.
Right? No, I hadn't heard about it, but yeah, there was a fire at their Hungarian factory, and I guess it's shut down for a while. So it's nasty. I wonder what type of fire it was, because they don't have hots like they have, chemicals and stuff like that. So I don't know, but I don't think they're that flammable. I guess they are technically flammable, but I don't know. Who knows? It's just some machine that just caught on fire. I don't know. If anyone knows details.
Yeah, well, hope everyone's okay.
Yeah, there's only one person injured, but they're okay apparently. So
Euro Circuits, I've mentioned on the show before, they have a really, really cool, actually it was past guest Joris who told me about it. They have a really cool DFM system on their site. So you upload
I've heard
design.
about it,
Yeah. Probably for me.
Right, probably.
Via yours.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Yep.
Very cool. All right, we are going to talk about infrastructure, aren't we, Chris? Because you just love your politics, Chris.
This is a non-political. So this came up this is part of the infrastructure bill, which is a U.S. thing. But
it did get the most thumbs up on the Reddit, on the subreddit.
Okay.
Yeah, it did. So we have to talk about
it. It actually was on Planet Money, which is another podcast. You maybe heard about it. It's probably like the top 10 podcasts that downloaded each week.
Nope.
It's an NPR podcast.
Right. Yeah.
But they do shows about
national.
issues.
It's in the name. National Public Radio. National
right,
means
not
US.
Not IPR. It's NPR. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Right.
Not APR.
Yeah. There's this. The world's like a globe, and America's just like one little tiny part.
Yeah, it's the center of it, right? Yeah.
Right. Center of the universe.
It's weird. It's like a torus,
Right.
right in the middle, and then it all curves away. Obviously this is US based infrastructure stuff, but it came up if people were listening to NPR. But by the way, a lot of Australians listen to NPR. Just getting that out there. Okay. The NPR is very big in the podcast world.
Sure, Chris. Yeah.
Anyways, they came up and I was just listening. So someone was listening to this and they told me about it. And in the middle of this random podcast, they're talking about how a tiny airport in Thief River Falls, a town of, so I didn't realize the numbers. They said 8,500 people in Thief River Falls, which DigiKey is.
Yeah.
4,000 to 4,500 work at DigiKey.
Yes, I know.
That's insane.
I know. It's crazy. They actually bus people in from other towns. DigiKey have their own bus services that, bus people in.
That is crazy.
This is one of the reasons why I love DigiKey, is because they're still dedicated to this tiny small town where I think one of the co-founders, we should actually try and get one of the co-founders on the show. That'd be, I think it's more than one.
I have a request out. I have a request out right now. So,
okay. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Cool. Yep. I think that'd be great. And and they're still dedicated to this small town. And of course it's a cool name, Thief River Falls, right? It's just a great name.
Yeah.
And it's just, I just love it. And there's this big airport there that almost all the planes coming in and out are DigiKey flights.
No, not big. No, five people work there.
It's small.
Five people.
No, but it's but it's over capacity. That's the thing. That's why they had to expand it. So they've Well, I'm having a look on the map right now, and it's kind of it's like
it's no bush plane. It's no bush plane.
No,
airport,
I've flown into much smaller airports. Okay, Chris. To me, this is a big airport, right?
Well, on the far side of the Taurus.
Right. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Anyway, it looks big.
It's big-ish. I think the real thing is that you just think about the scale of operations and stuff like that to get that much stuff out. You'd want to pretty much put the biggest plane you could, right, in terms of economies of scale and
yeah, of course. I'm not sure what planes they fly in and out of there, and it's just
they're not it's not going to be like a 747. A lot of those are modified 747s.
Yep, right.
For UPS and FedEx and the other couriers, they all buy old planes and then they just pack them to as much as they can.
Right.
But I don't think they have those flying.
Well, I can tell you, for those playing along at home, the runway is 2 kilometers long. So the main runway, it's got 2 runways and taxiways. This is a big airport,
It's
okay, in
monsters.
quote
Yeah,
marks, right?
yeah.
It's got a whole 2 runways. All
Right,
right.
right.
So don't, you know.
I feel like if we looked at like the flight tracking out of that, that's how you really tell. You look at the biggest plane
right.
coming out of there. So
Yep.
uh,
Yeah, flight radar thing, which
that's
is
right.
fun, to watch.
Those are fun to watch, especially like when you don't watch like the single flight. You got to watch the like the whole map where all the planes are
time
coming in.
lapses and stuff, and people do
and look
time
for
lapses and things like
that's
that.
right. The
It's
big
great.
planes going in, like the A380s. Oh yeah, that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I thought about getting a receiver thing and actually receiving those and feeding data in there, but you know, like there's already heaps in Sydney, so you know. Yep.
Yeah, they have the same thing for boats as well. There's like you can watch like boat traffic and stuff like that. There was actually just a video about global logistics on Wendover as well, about like how shipping, because it's all like stacked up at the ports here and a lot of places probably. That was a good one as well, just like seeing how a shipping container works and all of the logistics of that sort of thing, which, you know, some stuff comes over. I'm sure some of the parts coming over from China are probably on those, but not all, obviously.
Anyway, I love it. Yeah, they just dominate this small town. I mean, it's just like, you know, it's twice the size it would be just because of one company that's there, you know. It's just and they're like, I'm actually looking at the warehouse now, and the car park is bigger than the warehouse.
Wait, are you looking at the new one? Because they just built a new one too.
Oh, did they? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
well, no, I don't.
If it's an old map.
Well, imagery 2021. So,
okay. Maybe it's still being built. I'm not sure.
Right. Anyway, not sure what the deal is.
As well.
Yep.
Brooks Avenue.
Anyway, if you have a look at the map there, it's the biggest building in town. So, you know, and there's another one next to it, which is linked as Arctic Cat, which make like jet ski type things. But surely they don't have that entire building as big as DigiKey. But you never know. I don't know. Do they make Arctic Cat things there?
Oh, that's like a snowmobile. Yeah.
Snowmobile thing.
Yeah. Snowmobiles. You know what those are, Dave?
No, I don't. I've heard of them. I've seen them in movies and
right, in the in Inception and stuff like that.
Right.
And, you know, like Bond movies. They love them in Bond movies. They're exceptionally bad fuel economy.
Yep. But anyway, it's very cool. Okay, so is it nearby? Is it on like the same campus, the building, or is it somewhere else in?
What's the same? Oh, yeah, I think so.
Second building.
Yeah, let's see layers.
Is it actually a second building, or are they moving into just one bigger building?
It's a second building. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, there seems to be heaps of land around there. So.
I think that's got to be theirs. I think the Arctic Cat's got to be their property too.
Yeah, maybe.
Like, why would that be different? That
I know. It doesn't make sense. The Arctic Cat building's bigger than the DigiKey building. Sorry for those who can't see this, but you can play along at home.
Well,
with your Google Maps.
I'll link it in down below. Oh no, it does say Arctic Cat. Oh, that looks like manufacturing actually.
Okay.
So if you look on Street View, that does look like manufacturing. But
okay. Yeah.
I don't know. It's just a general American town, I guess. Lots of manufacturing and warehousing.
Well, maybe that's 100% of fee through the forces.
That's the
and snowmobiles. You know, that's
Oh man, I am not missing snow, Dave. Let me tell you, this year has been awesome. It was like 24
that's right. It's winter over
today.
there now, isn't it? Or almost
that's
winter.
That's right. Yeah. Sorry to all my friends up north. I'm not missing that lifestyle. I went for a walk today. It was fantastic.
Right. In the burbs, huh? Walk in the burbs.
Yep.
Yeah. There's a train line going through there too. I love trains. I'm a big train fanboy.
Oh yeah, I didn't mention that right after we stopped recording last week.
You went on your train
I mentioned
trip.
it to you, but I didn't mention it. I didn't mention on the show.
How did that go? And what did it take? Like 18 hours or something?
No, God no.
What?
Oh, no, that would have been to New York. So from Durham, it's 7 hours up to DC. It would have been 4.5 driving.
Oh, that's right. So, but you decided to sit on the train for 7 hours. Was it? It'd be much more relaxing, and you got work done. So
that's
I guess
exactly. Yeah, I didn't have to pay attention. I could kind of zone out when I needed to. I was doing work. There's Wi-Fi.
Yep.
There's a place to get coffee in the train. That's all I pretty much list all of my requirements for a working space.
Right.
I mean, like, I had to wear masks.
Was your portable lab.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Right. I
Yeah.
mean, I had my Analog Discovery with me, so
Oh, there you go.
that
All right.
was that was
Yep.
good. Actually, oh, that was something I meant to mention on here.
It's surprised somebody. Sorry, surprised somebody didn't like see you playing with that, and you got your ass hauled off by federal agents at the next thing, because there was just news.
Oh, really?
Somebody got they were at an airport or something, or they were on a plane, and they had an old school Hasselblad camera. Right? I think
Sorry,
it
what's
was
a
a
Hasselblad?
Hasselblad.
I don't know what that
Hasselblad,
is.
come on, it's the one they used on the moon, dude. Hasselblad is like the highest end camera you can get.
Yeah.
Old
Yeah.
school
Sorry.
film,
Okay. Yeah. I mean,
right?
what is it?
Anyway,
Oh, is that like the one where it like kind of I just pulled it up. It's like the one you like rotated on the side, like to
oh,
advance the
there's
film.
many older ones, but yeah, it's one of those older style,
It's just like
like
huge sensor.
large, big, and no, none of that sensor rubbish film, right?
I'm looking at a
This
new one.
was,
It does.
oh
There is
yeah,
one with a new sensor. Yeah.
they do have
Okay.
sensors. Yes, they use
Oh my
these mega
god.
sensors. They actually join.
$32,000.
Yeah, starts at that. Oh yeah,
Oh my
These things,
god.
these
Okay.
are the high end. Yes,
So this is
Hasselblad is
out of my pay
right.
range, huh?
Yes. Anyway,
Yeah. Yeah.
Hasselblad, the one they used on the Apollo missions, right? It's one of the world's most respected makers, the best digital cameras on the market, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay. Okay.
Right.
So someone got arrested
Old
for.
school film. Somebody,
Yeah.
they were on the tarmac. They were hopping off the plane, and then all these federal agents came in or something, threw them to the ground, and you're under guns pointing and blazing everywhere because they thought it was a bomb. Somebody actually reported it, and somebody didn't know what an old school film camera looked like, and they thought he was playing with a bomb. It's like it's just nuts.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Young whippersnappers. Anyway, I'm sorry.
Turns out the guy didn't have a bomb. He had a camera.
So he's playing with wires. Oh, this guy on the train, he's like wiring something up with these. It's got a circuit board. It's like, it's got to be a bomb.
Yeah. I kind of feel like it's well. First off, on a train, it's like much lower stakes.
Right. Yeah, but still, if somebody reported it, they have to take it seriously.
Yeah, I'm sure they would.
right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
If you see something, say something.
Right.
Yeah. I've always thought it'd be nefarious to have like a little like ESP32 or equivalent and like set the Wi-Fi to something bad.
Yes. Well, my Wi-Fi here, if you want to find the EV Blog Lab, it might or might not have NSA surveillance on it. So
classic.
yeah. So everyone nearby and everyone in the building sort of go, scanning their Wi-Fi, going, "What? The NSA's tapped into the building?" It's like
they'd be like, "What's the NSA? We don't live in the U.S." Right, Dave?
No, everyone.
What is this? The U.S. is in the center. The U.S.
Everyone's
is in the
seen
center
the
of
movie.
everything.
Everyone's seen the movies. Come on.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
boy.
true. That's true. So train. It was nice.
Yeah, cool.
Didn't get kicked off. That was good.
Right.
They still have smoke breaks.
Smoke what?
That was interesting. I mean, I live in the South now, so
Wow.
like, maybe more people smoke here, but like, yeah, they.
What? So they just stop in the middle of nowhere, and then you can just
I mean, it's
hang
like
out
as
and
they
smoke
stop
your
at
fag and what?
Yeah, they stop at a station, and
Oh,
then they
right,
say
okay, they
like
stop at a
smoke break
station,
for like
right.
10 minutes, 15 minutes. They
So
also
you
use
just
it to
hop
like
off on the platform
compress,
and puff.
compress
and-
schedule. That's right. Yeah,
So did you see anyone actually do it, or?
of course.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Right.
Yeah, I mean, cigarettes
wow.
aren't $25 a pack here like they are in the
Oh,
in
okay,
Aussie,
right.
Aussie land. Yeah.
No, I think they're
They're
about
so
50
expensive, but,
I think they're about
yeah.
50 here now.
Oh my gosh. That's awesome.
Yeah, I think it's nuts. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Smoko breaks. Oh my god. I can.
Yeah.
I like.
Classic, huh? Actually, the old days they would have just been like, you could smoke on the train rather.
Oh yeah, there were smoking carriages, but you had to find the smoke. It was usually at the end, so you had to run down the end of the platform to get to the smoke because my dad smoked. So
Yep.
I can remember, we having all to run down to the smoking carriage, because that's but yeah, that went the way of the dodo by the late 70s. I think they
God no.
Oh, yeah.
In Aussie land maybe, but in the
Yeah,
US, not
here
until
it was.
the 90s.
Yeah.
I mean, like
Right.
on planes for sure.
Oh
in,
God,
like,
no,
the 70s,
no.
80s,
Here,
but-
I think it was gone by at least the mid 80s. Smoking on trains and buses
That's
was
good.
gone. Yeah, and planes as well. I think. Yep.
Good riddance.
Yeah. Oh boy. Anyway,
Yeah.
how did we get onto that?
Trains. So trains are great.
Trains. Yeah, trains are great.
Trains are great.
Yeah, we've
Love it. Love
both
it.
train fanboys. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
Yeah, I was gonna pull up Adrian Studer I was looking up to see if we'd had him on the show in like one of the. I thought we maybe at one of the conferences I've talked to him before.
Ah, right, okay.
But he has I think it's an APRS receiver. Yeah, he was at. Oh, there we go. Episode 450. I talked to him at Teardown, and he has like a receiver, AIS receiver. So that's something where you could also collect. I think that's boat beacons and stuff like that. So
Okay,
I'll link
right.
that show in too.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, so if you live somewhere obscure, like in the middle of Whoop Whoop or something, then yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it'd be cool to like install these receivers and then feed the data back. Because,
Mm-hmm.
like if you live in the city, like there's heaps of them around, but
That's
if you
right, yeah.
live out in the middle of nowhere, or at the top of a mountain or something, then yeah, it'd be really nice to install some of these things and get all this coverage for everyone to help track, Yep.
I was talking about the Analog Discovery 2. There was a David Cherry. He sent me one. Basically it's like he built a differential front end for an Analog Discovery 2.
Yep.
It's super cool. It's basically just like op amps and like balancing and stuff like that, but it kind of like supercharges this thing.
Didn't it already have a selectable differential or single-ended option? Or am I thinking of something else?
It has a differential option or differential input for the scope input.
Ah,
but
right.
It's not
okay.
a difference amp, right? So like actually having like
yeah.
projection and stuff like
right,
that.
Right.
So I think he posted about it on the CE forum, but yeah, I'm not sure if he's making them yet. He at least sent me a prototype of it. But
I
cool.
really wish that was open source. That'd be cool because you could, because the software is so good, right? It's the software that makes that thing, right? The hardware is just
totally.
okay. The hardware's the hardware,
I mean,
right?
Yep.
It's just a few chips on a board, right?
Right.
But yeah, no, the software really makes it, and it'd just be great. Like the interface is open, like you can design all these boards to plug into it, front ends and stuff to plug into it. But yeah, unfortunately, the hardware itself is not. It's not open.
Right.
So
even so, like one of the testers that I have for one of my boards, I use an Analog Discovery 2, and then I've started working on a interface basically to just instead so right now I manually plug each cable in when I need to test something. It's like, I should just make a conversion board from one to the other, and then the Discovery 2 becomes almost like a tester in production. And that's what they're trying to do with like the Pro, right? So like Analog Discovery Pro is this new thing that came out.
Yep.
But it's not, I mean, it's cool. It's higher end, and it's got like a computer that sits in it. So it's got like a Linux box inside of it. But it's really the portability and the simplicity that I'm looking for. And I guess the scripting too. So that's cool too. It's got Python scripting, but the built-in on the back end is like JavaScript, and it's simple enough where like I can do it. And so that's like saying its own thing there,
Yep.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. But I really like it just for travel, right? So my travel, we've talked about the Portalab, and it's shrunk over the years, and now it's a TS80 at your recommendation. It's what's the other one? The Aneng. What's the Aneng?
Which is the soldering iron for those playing long home.
That's right.
Soldering iron.
That's the USB-C soldering iron.
Yes, USB-C.
The Aneng, which is I think another one.
So do you plug that into a power pack, or do you plug that into your PC to power that?
I plug that into, so I have my PC supply, so when I need to, I can power off
Oh, okay. You can just actually, right.
Yeah.
Of course.
So if I need that, and then I also bring the plug pack with it so that I could plug into a wall directly with I like the flexible cable. And then actually there was what is it called? It's a Crowd Supply thing that I backed that is a power delivery board. So I could also use that if I needed to as well.
Cool. Yep.
So I think that's already passed, but it was pretty, it's pretty cool little board. And then Aneng 8008, I think that's another one of your recommendations.
Oh yes, the little meter. Yep.
That's right. So all this stuff actually fits. I harvested the Analog Discovery 2 like case that it comes in, and I use that as my new carrying case. So it's got then the probes, the Analog Discovery 2, set of side cutters.
Yep.
And that's kind of all I need most of the like a serial interface. So like USB to serial, like to have a separate one for that sort of thing. Bunch of solder, some enamel wire just for like hacking stuff together. And then that's kind of it.
No portable power supply. You don't really, because you're not really working on breadboards or any, you're not really, building stuff from scratch.
I can use that USB PD thing for that as well.
Yeah.
So
okay.
That has selectable output. I mean, it's not going to be like dialed in.
Yep.
I would have put a micro supply in there, Dave.
Yeah, I micro supply. I know the sexy micro supply. Yep.
Well,
Yep.
yeah,
I know. I
Is
know.
that dead forever? Is
Yeah,
that
it's
gone?
probably, yeah, I think so.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, it's a market
Yeah.
opportunity, folks.
Yeah,
If
I
you want to
don't.
make it into the Porta Lab on Chris's backpack, call me.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Cool. Yeah, I'd probably have like the same stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's great for just like random. I'd say if work holding would maybe be another one. They had those like the little clampy things for like bench level clamps. I like those too.
Yep.
But mine broke, and for what
Yeah.
they call that, like the floor vise or something like that.
Right.
Travel vise. I don't know.
The thing is, like everyone's requirements are different. There's no such thing as like a universal portable lab. It's just like it's not going to suit everyone. Everyone has their different requirements. So
yeah. I mean, some people are like, well, I work on RF. It's like, oh, okay, well,
yeah. Well, home
soldering iron
labs,
works.
for example, like there is no generic home lab. Like
Right.
it depends on the stuff you're working on.
That's right. Yep.
Oh, that brings up. I haven't got it on here, but maybe I can search for it or something. What is it? It's somebody on the EV blog forum, right? Kind of like a noob, not total noob, but setting up a lab from scratch. And needless to say, this caused a bit of controversy. Their post was controversy. Their post was basically, oh, what is the best scope I can get for $30,000?
Oh,
it was like
interesting.
For $30,000.
They come into some money recently, or what is the?
Yeah. They basically said, yeah, I've come into money,
okay.
and I want a really good scope for my home hobby lab. And it's like I'm willing to spend $30,000.
That's a very interesting.
I
know. A mental exercise. Yeah,
it is. Yeah. It is, and so you can imagine, because the EV blog forum is the world's biggest test equipment forum.
That's right.
Everyone just went, yeah. Like
challenge accepted.
Yes. Well, no, everyone tried to talk him out of it, basically. So
I mean, he had no experience.
Little, I think, but he just wanted to know what.
This comes down to the you should never buy the Gibson Les Paul as your first guitar.
Right? Yes, exactly. It's the same thing. Yeah.
Not only because you will ruin that guitar, but it will ruin you.
And I'm having trouble finding here. Why?
That's okay. I mean, it's
but anyway, I'll put in the link. And one of my responses among several was that. Look, basically,
suck of the salve, as they say.
Yep.
I have more thoughts about this. I've been thinking about it overnight, and I have more things to say.
Was basically that. Okay, right. Anything over probably 200 or 300 megahertz, especially over 500 megahertz, you're really just taking the piss for a general purpose scope, right? Because the passive probes that come with it won't go that high. Okay, there's probably I think there's only one manufacturer in the world, which is Tektronix, who do a 1 gigahertz passive probe, like a regular 10 to 1 passive probe.
Yeah, it plugs right in, and even that
without being an active probe, right?
Right.
And it's like no, but if you actually do the calculations on that, it's like 30 ohms at 1 gig. Like, because it's got 4 picofarads input capacitance, and that's like 30 ohms. It's like, yeah, have fun with your 30 ohm probe, okay? No, it's like, it's just, I'm not going to say it's silly, but
what level of electronics was this person going for? I actually love this as a mental exercise because
it was just a basic lab scope. I'm going to find it here. If you can talk for a second, I can find it.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, the one thing I think about is like, okay, so I already talked about like the Gibson Les Paul thing, how that would ruin someone. But I mean, I don't really know what most people need on most of these scopes. Even like I think about the amount of functions that I use on the scopes in or around my bench, and it's like, okay, maybe 25%. And people can get away with a lot of stuff. And so then it all kind of comes back to like, if you're a true beginner, what do you really need? I think you need repeatability, right? You need stability. Don't buy the bottom of the barrel because you're going to get hosed, right? You're going to, maybe you're going to have extra noise in there. You're not going to understand what's going on. I think actually one thing that's important for beginners is buying something that other people have. If you buy some brand new, no name, whatever, and then you have a problem with it, you're screwed again, right? I mean,
right.
Yeah. So yeah, even I mean, maybe if you can buy support from the company you're buying it from, maybe if you trust them. But
Yep.
if
No,
but then you have no community support.
Exactly. And like the scope hasn't been hacked yet, or
Right.
something like that, right?
Yes, right.
And it's
I
like,
think I think
anyway.
about it kind of like how I think about 3D printers, right? So I have a decent amount of experience with scopes, very little experience with 3D printers.
Yeah,
My
right.
number one requirement was, what do the most people say is the right answer?
Exactly.
And price was a little bit less squishy there.
Yep.
It's actually more about like, what am I going to do when everything goes to shit?
Yeah,
I'm going to
exactly.
go online.
Yep.
I'm going to start Googling, and I'm going to
Yep.
hope for a very helpful community. And so,
Exactly. Exactly.
yeah.
Yep. So I would be in the same position if I was buying a new 3D printer. Totally.
Yeah, I mean, like, and reliability. So again, that also kind of
Or if I was buying a pick and place machine, if I was buying
sure,
a,
sure. Well, good
well,
luck
I
with
mean,
that.
definitely, right?
What is the one that most people have, Dave? None. That's the answer.
None, right?
Yeah.
But there's little small communities, out there. So yeah, I would find one that has a dedicated community. Absolutely. And it was like, anyway, I've sent you the link to what is the best oscilloscope I can get for $30,000. And Cymax on the forum, my budget is $30,000. I want a very feature-rich scope, and I figure with that kind of budget, I can 4 channels. The goal is I buy one scope to have it be the last scope that I'll ever need. Some of the plans include decoding software, like on micros, Arduinos, and PICs, right? But he does he does mess with RF from time to time. But it's like,
Okay.
yeah, come on.
I'd buy a $1,000 scope and a $28,000 Field Fox.
Right, yes, exactly. Yeah, that was one of my responses as well. Like, yeah, I would like buy a couple of grand scope, buy a nice couple of grand scope, and then I'd buy a nice, couple of grand spectrum analyzer, and then I'd buy all sorts of. You can equip your whole lab.
Yeah,
you can get a really nice schmick lab for under 10 grand, right?
Yeah.
So you only have to spend 1/3.
If you want to spend a lot of money, get into RF. Do you remember how I mentioned that?
Yeah, exactly.
Mr. Jeff Kaiser has my my $3,000 very old, very used.
He's holding on to
HP
it for you.
8753D thing. It cost $3,000. Jeff spent another $3,000 on friggin' cables, Dave. Cables.
Yeah.
Cables.
I know.
RF is dumb. I love it, but it's dumb.
It's dumb. Totally agree. I know. Yes.
Don't at me.
That's
Don't
nothing.
At me. RF is dumb.
Dude, I used to pay $1,500 for test leads for a resistance meter.
Oh, I believe it. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. A high voltage HP resistant HP back in the day, Keysight or whatever. Sorry, Agilent, And but because they're these special bloody triaxial, bloody connectors on them, and the test leads, they were like $1,000 US, which is like 1,500 Aussie bucks or something for these bloody test leads for a freaking resistance meter.
Oh yeah, Keithley made triacs too. I wasn't allowed to have those, man. When I worked there, they're like, no,
right?
We don't have that many of those.
Yeah, bloody triaxial connectors, pain in the ass,
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, because it's a high impedance resistance meter, right? It's not just a regular, up to 10 meg kind of thing. It goes up to,
Yeah, you're driving it with a couple thousand volts.
Yes, it can go up to 1,000 volts and down to, picoamps. Yep. So it's a very sensitive beast. So you need these special low noise triaxial bloody cables for it, just to do production testing.
Yeah.
So I had to buy these in the dozens, and it's like, oh god.
So where did this person? I'm having trouble seeing the link you sent. It looks broken. It looks like I got chopped off actually.
Sorry.
But where did this person land? I'm very curious about this sort of thing.
I am. I will find it for you in a second. But where is the? Oh, really? You can get for. Oh yeah, no, it's chopped off. I'll send it to you on the Here it is. There you go. There's the link on the Googlies.
Yeah. The Googles.
Googly monsters.
Got it. Yep.
Cool. Right, got it. All right. I don't think it's up to 7 pages of responses now. So last I heard, he hasn't decided. I was the last one to post. So he had decided on, I think, the 1 gig Siglent. I don't know if he's actually purchased it yet, but he looked at the Siglent, the 1 gig version of the Siglent, and I'm going, this is why I replied, like, why the 1 gig? Like, you really don't need anything more than 300 to 500.
You know what I would do, Dave? I would send this post. If this was me,
Yep.
I would send this post, maybe along with a bank statement or equivalent, to every FAE.
Right.
And I'd be like, can I get your nicest scope on loan, please?
Yes, exactly.
I would like to try it out. And they'd say, yes, sir. Right over here, sir.
I know that was also one of my replies, was that they will,
look at
the
this.
local
We're right in
dealer
sync,
will
Dave.
happily come to your place
that's right,
and show you. They will, you know.
It's like that scene in Pretty Woman where she goes shopping for like all the dresses and stuff like that. You know,
and they'll come by with the scope and they'll give you a free
will outfit your lab.
They will give you a free foot massage and everything for, you know, like for there's a 30 grand sale on offer, you know.
Yep.
But yeah,
that's what we need, Dave. We need the Rodeo drive for electronics.
Right. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Well, that's DigiKey, isn't it? The record.
Oh, maybe.
Because
I don't think
you know. Because I did this tweet. I don't think we've talked about it. I did this tweet where I looked at, while I was searching for Jelly Bean parts, I came across all of
you sorted by price in the other direction. Huh?
I sorted by price in the other direction, and I've done this many times over years because it's fun, right?
Yeah, it's totally fun.
And the most expensive chip I found was $22,000.
You want to see some military parts? You will find some military parts.
and that's exactly what I found, right? And the most expensive chip was $22,000. No, it was $128,000. But it turned out
a CPLD from the early 90s.
No, it turned out it was actually a wafer. It was actually like apparently a full wafer. Like you could actually buy the full wafer from the factory. No, it was I don't know.
Because Rochester Electronics, I still complain about Rochester Electronics. I would love to talk to people from there if anyone knows people there.
Yep.
But I complain about them because they pop up in searches, and they're just not what I want.
They infest DigiKey now. They infest it. Do you know if if they ship components to DigiKey and then DigiKey ship them to you, or because I've never ordered a Rochester part through DigiKey.
I have.
Does anyone know? You have.
They must have stock on hand. I think they must.
Right.
But
okay.
Yeah, it's so people don't know. Rochester basically buys up old wafers. They then have like service contracts for people who say, I need this to source for 10 years. The vendor
once again for the military, for the government, that sort of thing. You know,
not just military.
No,
I mean, like
not just, but that's
automakers,
a huge part. Yeah, but
automakers need 10-year agreements, right?
Yes,
I think for low volume where you're not going to be able to show up with $1 million at the door. You're not getting the foot massages, right?
No.
You're a small time player, but you can guarantee this like longer term income. Yeah, it makes sense.
No, I've been involved in this once again for the this was not the military. This was for commercial contract, right? They sort of like custom designed this analog to digital converter for us, right? For the seismic market. I mean, it wasn't just for us, but it was for the seismic industry. Like nobody else uses this chip, right? This chip is just designed for the underwater seismic industry, right? And there's maybe 5 customers worldwide tops, and we were one of them, right?
Right. And it's probably not listed on DigiKey or equivalent.
No. It was probably not even on their website, right? So yeah, we would get and test like the beta silicon and everything, right? Totally. So but we would have to. This was part of the negotiations for the contract for designing this part into our thing. Was that we need like a 15-year guaranteed in writing, signed by your CEO, right? A contract to supply this part, right? And they did it, right?
Yeah,
the actual CEO signs it and goes, "Yep, we will guarantee this for 15 years. We will still make this for you, regardless of how much it costs us." You know?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's kind of like the table stakes of certain things, right? I mean, like that was it for even industrial stuff that I used to work on. Same kind of thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
So there you go.
I think the problem though is that sometimes those companies, even though they have those agreements, they go out of business, right? And they flop or something happens, right?
No, of course. Or they
sell the service contract to someone like a Rochester, and I think that's what we're ultimately seeing. And I think then sometimes also Rochester's buying up wafers. They have agreements with a vendor, and they say we want to buy these and package them ourselves.
And they do actually remanufacture chips. So they actually I don't know if they do it in house or whether or not they subcontract somebody, but they actually take the wafers that they've got and they actually package them up. They will actually package them and test them and sell you a finished chip for this obscure chip from the 1980s.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's fine. I mean, like I'm sure it's actually a great business. I'm sure it's stressful business, but I just don't want to see it. That's the main thing. I don't.
You don't want to see it on your DigiKey. Yes,
that's right.
I know. Yeah. There is a button on the DigiKey which says remove marketplace
I know
items.
that one. That's.
But they still come up.
No, they're a real vendor. I mean, that's the real thing. They're not a.
Oh yes, right. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, but it did get rid of a lot of them. So I'm not sure how it actually
I bet
works.
that's the split then. I would bet that the marketplace is someone who's shipping from their own factory, and then in-house they have.
Whereas
they have
the other one, if it still shows up from them, then DigiKey will have it on their shelves.
Surprisingly, this segment not brought to you by DigiKey.
DigiKey,
we have no affiliation other than knowing
know.
some people there, and I guess being fanboys. Sorry.
Right.
We're just we're just fans of small towns in Minnesota. How are you doing?
Exactly.
Okie dokie.
Anyway, the most expensive. Somebody found the most expensive item on DigiKey so far. What was it? $1.8 million.
Ooh, okay.
And it was a Molex tool.
Oh yeah, like
there is no photo. There's no photo. There's no data sheet. You can't find a link to it anywhere on the internet. But there's this weird Molex tool part number that's listed for $1.8 million on DigiKey.
Wow.
Or is it 1.2 or something? Anyway, it's there. You can order it.
Maybe our $30,000 scope friend has enough money for that sort of thing. You just got to ask what the return policy is like.
You're right. And it's 40-week lead time. Yeah.
What's the shipping like to Australia? Oh man.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yep. It's just it's nuts.
Speaking of obscure parts, you are hoping to find. You've talked for many years about the obscurity of low gate count
Still don't know what you're talking
FPGAs.
About. Now, yes, right.
There are some.
Yes. I've been saying this for 15 years.
This is Dave basically being like, I understand CPLDs.
It's not really. No, it's not. Unfortunately, it's not.
It's not
no, my dream was to have like a million logic, like a big high-end beefy FPGA with like a million logic elements in an SOIC8, or just any small usable pin count.
As people listened to last week when Carmen was here, the power requirements alone, if you had if you have 8 pins, that means one of them is power, and that means you have a lot of inductance.
The surge, you're going to have a bad time. Power just to turn on. Right.
That thing would start singing. It would start singing to you. All of your expensive RF equipment you bought for your lab, it would light up.
Yep.
Oh boy.
But they just anyway. No, this is cool. Former guest of the show, Steve Leibson, he tweeted, because he works in that business, that Renesas because Renesas acquired, who was it?
Everyone. They acquired Intercell, who Carmen was talking about last week.
No. A Green Pack.
Oh, they did. I didn't realize
makes the Green Pack chips.
Oh, I thought they were standalone company.
So they actually acquired them, and it's, I think, through their arm that they're doing these new FPGAs, but they're ultra low power, low cost. They're called the Forge FPGA family. But the thing is that like they got just like Jelly Bean kind of thing, like 5,000 gates of logic, right? They got 1 to 2K of lookup tables and stuff. They work down at standby power of 20 microamps, right? And they've even got a one-time programmable jobby. So it's like, you program this thing for production, and they're available in what packages? Like little low pin count packages. And they're going, we're going to service this market that has not been served before. And they're 50 cents.
Not for me, but interesting. Yeah, I feel like this is like them looking at Green Pack and being like, people want more of that, but in one place,
Yep. Oh, yeah. Well, for those who don't know, the Green Pack is like an analog FPGA kind of thing. Like they've got little op amps and switches and kind of thingies.
I think of them more like a one-time programmable like programmable logic gates in like the tens of gates.
And they've got logic gate version as well. Yeah. But they do have a mixed.
Yeah, they have like timers and stuff like that too, right?
Yeah. No, they have mixed signals, so they've got other stuff in there. Yeah, so they've got analogy type stuff.
What I really think about with Green Pack is hard to get, expensive. That was always my thing. I was always like, this is for like, this is like for someone, maybe in my ABB days when it was like, I was big enough that they would get like the price was low enough. But this is for someone like making a specialized, someone doing like a load dump test capable board at a car manufacturer, and they're going to make 1 million of them. Toyota is going to make 1 million of these things, and they just need this one thing to work around this one problem they have, and it's going in there. Like that's what I think about.
Exactly.
And then yeah, it's 10 cents now because you're Toyota.
Anyway, the other thing I like about it is not only are the tools free, but they've also got a schematic capture tool. Basically, they've got like a join the gates up, right? So for those who don't know, don't groan, right? If you're not comfortable with HDL, if you just want something that's, if you've just got a simple design and you want to consolidate some glue, some glue logic, right, into one little FPGA that solves your little problem, you don't want to learn and write HDL for it. You just want to throw in the schematic, I need a bunch of shift registers here, and I need some, flip-flops here, and and you just join them all together, and Bob's your uncle, right?
Yeah,
you don't have to dick around with the HDL and knowing, all that synthesis crap, right?
Yeah, this is both of those things are not for me. So not yet. Maybe in the future, we'll see.
Oh, right. So you're just right.
I'm just
the
an
whole
opt-out.
FPGA thing is not for you.
Yeah, right now. I mean, I think I might operate. These days, given the stuff I've been doing, I might operate at the ECP5, put a microcontroller in it, and then add some logic around it. That might be something that fits what I'm doing, but yeah, not.
You sound like more of a hardcore. I'm here a week. Hardcore, hard processor core fanboy.
Yeah, like an IP block.
That sounds like something you would use.
Having like a Cortex M4 internal,
yes, exactly.
Like when Brian Faith was on the show, the what is that called? The Quick Logic.
Yep.
Brian came on, was talking about Quick Logic. It's got like a Cortex M4 in there, and it's got some glue logic and some other fanciness around it. So
and it's got some fabric around it. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
the thing I like about these is that they've basically turned the industry on its head by saying, we're going to cater for low cost, small pin count, small, FPGAs, and we're going to also give you these like cool schematic capture tools. I haven't tried it yet, but it sounds good. Like, whereas the whole industry was going away from that, right? That was a thing. Schematic capture was a thing back in, the 80s and 90s. Right. But then they went into the HDLs, the high definition languages. The hardware description languages. Right. They went all into that. So Verilog VHDL. Right. That was the only way you did FPGAs in modern times. And they're going, no, we're going to go old school. Thank you very much. We'll give you your HDL tools, but we're going to give you schematic capture as well. And I think that's freaking great.
I think, they're targeting. I think what they're really telegraphing with that is that they're targeting that previous market, right? So like people in the CPDL space, and
they're targeting non-FPGA people because it's a big learning curve to learn a HDL.
Sure,
right? It's a totally different mindset to go to. It is. What, you don't agree?
No, I think you're talking about two different things though. I think one thing you're talking about is like synchronous, like thinking about how data is flowing through a device and stuff like that. That is different than people who are used to like iterative processing, like on a microcontroller where it's going through loops and things like that. I feel like that's one thing, but then you're talking about the flow of, okay, now I've learned that stuff. I've gotten it right. I even if I borrowed someone else's code, and okay, so you start from someone else's code. Now you have to then run it through a synthesizer, run it through place around, run it through all those tools. And that is a second thing that's hard to understand, I feel like.
Yeah, it's an entirely different mindset, right? Mm. Every engineer is taught logic, right? They're taught,
not very well for me.
They're taught gates and their Carnot map simplifications, and they're taught right. Yeah. They're taught all logic. I still love Carnot maps. Come on, Carnot map.
Yeah, you're just doing Carnot maps for funsies.
Yeah. Okay. Yep, funsies. Well, Yep. Anyway,
everybody's got their hobbies.
Jeez. Anyway, so that's how you're taught, right? That's how you're taught. And then you're taught sequential programming on microcontrollers and processors, right? They're the two things you're taught. You're not taught hardware, like you're not taught.
I think some of this is changing.
Hardware
honestly.
Description language.
I think some of this is
it might be, sure. It might be.
The newer class of engineers.
Maybe, I'm sure.
I hope.
Right.
I hope,
newer
honestly.
class, maybe. So, but it's basically a third discipline. That's what I'm saying, right? There is logic, there is HDLs, and there's sequential programming. They are three different disciplines.
Sure. I'll give you that.
And they have their own rules. They have their own traps for young players.
Oh, I think one of the big traps is if you are coming from that like top down, like starting from HDL and being like, okay, now I'm gonna I understand all this stuff as like from a programming model, but like you don't understand what's happening underneath. Then you're like, I have this program. I don't know why it's placing and
Oh,
routing
well,
for
then
such a
you
big
get
thing.
into the intricacies of the FPGA and the architecture of the
Right. Being closer
FPGA
to the
you're
hardware
using.
and stuff like
That's
that. Yeah.
another
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, yeah. That's totally another thing.
Mm-hmm.
No, I like the fact that they went backwards to old school schematic capture.
I
So
think you should
hats off.
try
So
this out.
I want to play with them.
Yeah, I think you should.
I am. I want to get a kit.
Okay.
Yep.
Bring it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think you can download the software now, but I didn't find a data sheet it readily like straight away. But anyway, yep, it's very cool.
It's great.
Yeah. I want one. So yeah, I'm going to try and get. I think there's a preliminary dev kit available, so I'll try and get a preliminary dev kit.
I mean, if Dave Jones can't get an early dev kit, I mean, what are we even doing here?
We'll see. Yep. Cool. All right. How much time we got left? Have we pissed it all the way on DigiKey?
About 5 minutes left. Right. We can always go longer, of course. But yeah.
Right. Boy. All right. Now, we should make the photo for this one. Me in the DigiKey sack. There's an old photo of. Was it? Oh God, what is it? There was there's a photo of me in a EV log DigiKey. There's it came in a sack or something. There was
like a potato sack. Are you saying
DigiKey
this like a
postage fail? 146. Here we go. I'm just looking 46. At my
yeah. We are in the old days here. I was just looking at Steve Leipson's episode 2 when he was on the show. That was episode 99. Like, damn, I forgot Steve was even on the show. I mean, like, I followed Steve for a long time, but yeah. And didn't he retire and then he just joined another company? Didn't he just like?
He's with yet another company. So yep, some some yep.
Good for
I
him.
don't know. Yeah. Anyway, there's a quote from him in the article. So
cool.
Yep.
Okay.
So there you go. So yes, there's the here's the incoming thingamabob.
Dave in a sack.
For the Dave in a sack. Yes, I believe. Yeah, I think it's from memory. It's like at the end or something. I come in. I stick the DigiKey sack on my head. Not recommended for the kiddies. But yeah. Okay. Yeah. There it is, right at the end.
Tell my daughter not to do that. Yeah. Okay.
It's actually a Swiss Post bag. So I don't think it's actually branded DigiKey. So yep. So I guess that's not a good thumbnail. Okay.
So maybe it's
forget it. Okay, we just pissed away another 5 minutes on DigiKey. Stop it. Come on. Focus,
Dave.
Okay. We have to shout out the wooden 7-segment display.
Oh my
Holy
God.
crap.
That thing was gorgeous.
Oh, that is magical.
Yeah.
Who is it? I can't pronounce it. It's K.$Uzuki.
I think
Belltree Nursing.
I think it's Suzuki, yeah.
Suzuki. Belltree Nursing on Twitter from Japan.
Yeah. This is
like, holy crap.
Yeah, so why don't you explain what a wooden 7-segment display is?
It is a 2-digit display. It's about like an inch high or something like that.
Wow, Imperial units. Look at that. Dave's really flexing on that one.
Absolutely. And it's so a 2-digit wooden display, and there's like a knob on the bottom of it that is turning, and it looks like a real 7-segment display, but it's actually like little slithers of wood that come through that are obviously like painted on top or have some little top thing on the top. And there's all these cogs in there that flip the segments over as he goes. And there's this like coding wheel inside, which then determines which ones are flipped in and which segments are flipped in and out. Yeah. And it's all manufactured with wooden cogs. It's magical.
Yeah, following this person's channel is just like it's like a playground of like wooden clock masterpieces. Oh yeah.
Oh, really? Okay, so they make wood. I didn't look at their profile. Okay, so they make wooden art and
I think clock specifically. Oh, wow. I think clock specifically.
Right.
And there's more. There's more mechanics on there, but yeah, it's
wow.
It's intense. It's intense. It's very cool.
Oh, there's another one as well. Mm-hmm. If you scroll further down, if you go to the channel and scroll further, there's like a large one, and you can see the cogs inside. Yeah. And it's a single digit, 4 inches high or something like that.
At first I was wondering because it goes from 0 all the way through 23. I was like, what the hell is it doing? And I was like, oh yeah, okay, I get it. Some people keep track of time like that. Okay, I guess.
Yeah, they do. And it's just, wow. Yep.
It's very nice.
Hats off. Yeah. Absolutely fantastic. So, and there's extra photos of the pieces that go inside there and stuff. Oh, there's another photo of the without the segments on the front.
Mm-hmm.
That's really nice. Yeah. Oh, it's just anyway. Yep. Fantastic. What else we got? I do like the Robert Telder has how to make a CPU picture guide. I think this is great. I think this is terrific. Right. Yep. So shout out. We'll link that in. It's just like the process steps,
and it is pretty high level actually. So it's basically talking about like semiconductor processing, all the way down from like well, smash a rock. Yeah, okay, come on now.
So he's making it look like he's actually making this in his home. He's like
right, all the way from the ingot as well. Yeah,
all the way from the ingot and everything else.
Come on, Sam's aloof. You haven't made your own ingot yet.
Yeah, exactly.
just making these things in your dorm room.
Anyway, yeah, I just think that's worth a shout out.
Yeah, that's great.
What else? No, that's it.
There is an old article about sting operation where they basically spoofed.
Oh, you wanted to.
Yeah, it was in Australia. Yes. It was like across the globe, but it was like they basically created a smartphone brand for criminals.
Yep.
And somehow it worked. It's like, I mean, it's too long to explain, but that's enough to like start with, and it's pretty fun to follow.
Yep.
It's always nice when you don't feel bad for one side. You're like, oh, criminals. Oh no, they got scammed.
Basically, what they did is the Australian Federal Police, I assume it's Federal Police or whatever, their cyber crimes department or whatever, in combination with the FBI or somebody, I don't know, maybe.
Dave's really selling it here. Really selling it.
Yeah. They created a smartphone and they sold it. It was called the Anom, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And they advertised this thing via a dummy company or whatever as being like a secure smartphone so that nobody could track you, right? So and then they seeded it to the criminals, right? And they got one key criminal to use it, and then he recommended it to all his criminal buddies, right? And it spread.
Yeah, they actually say criminal influencer. That they use that term.
Criminal influencer,
fantastic.
Yes.
Just fantastic.
That's great. That's
great. It. Yeah.
Criminal influence. Yes, it was the Australian Federal Police.
Right,
yeah.
Right.
Yep.
I do think it'll be a movie someday. This is not a news story either. I found this later. I think it was 2 months ago or something like that.
This happened in June. It actually happened in June.
If you read it's really worth the read. It's a lot of fun.
And they actually made 800. They actually arrested 800 people who actually were using these phones.
Yeah.
And they seized like 148 million bucks in cash from all these criminals.
I think what it really comes down to is like when you think you're on a secure platform, right? Once you've like validated, you go through all these steps.
Once you trust it,
then you're like, all right, I'll just say whatever, like, and it's like,
exactly.
Okay. I would do the exact same
thing.
They did.
Yeah. But what would you like? It'd be so tempting not to tell, like, just to keep it going, right? To see how far, and then maybe pick them.
Yeah, they say in the article that they know about someone who's going to be killed, and they have to go and like surreptitiously prevent that person from being killed, but not give away the whole farm, saying that like
not give away the whole farm.
We know exactly what you've been saying here, guys. Like,
exactly.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Like I said, this is totally going to be a movie someday. This is like,
I know, it's great.
Like the old mob movies and stuff like that. Like, I love that era of like, there's always a sting. Terrific. Someone's always wearing a wire.
Yeah, exactly. And they made this secure fund, and a criminal influencer just spread it to his criminal buddies.
Yep. You too could be a criminal influencer someday.
Yeah. It'd be tempting just to pick them off one by one, and then and then so that they like it takes them years to figure out. Oh shit, they're listening to the phone.
Mm-hmm. It's almost like the same story in like if you look at like the code breaking happening in World War II. Like they had to like they seeded like bad messages then too, right? They had to like
yes, exactly. They couldn't just stop everything. They actually had to let some things happen, which ended up their own people were killed. Their own soldiers were killed, and they could have stopped it, but they didn't want to give it away.
Yeah, I think
because it was such a big thing.
I've gotten most of my knowledge from Cryptonomicon, which is like fiction. It's like historical fiction, but very good.
Okay, right.
Neil Stephenson book, and
Oh yeah, they decrypted like half of their traffic or something, and they knew a ton of stuff like years before, and so they had to let things happen.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, which meant they didn't inform certain generals or whatever that they had this information that they're going to get ambushed or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like they just because there was more at stake. Like there was like the whole war at stake.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So they, yeah, they couldn't actually tip their hat.
I just finished reading or listening to Thunder Below, which is about World War II
Right.
subs in the Pacific, and they also cover it in there. They
Oh,
talk about like
nice. Yes.
having
Okay.
that
Yep.
one is great. I
Yep.
heard about that from Destin from Smarter Every Day did that like 7
Yep.
series
Right.
on nuclear subs, and he recommended it at the end
Yes.
of one of
Yeah. Yeah.
those.
That was great.
Then
Yep.
I talked to
Okay.
former guest Josh from Cryptotronics, and he mentioned that like that book is like revered. He's a former submariner himself. He said the book is like
Yeah. Right.
revered in like
Yes.
in the U.S. Navy still, and it was like written in the 50s or 60s. It's really fun to listen to. Not least of all because the audiobook reader guy, every time there's a depth charge, he goes boom. So a
That's great.
lot of fun to listen to.
That's great.
So I like it. I
Yeah.
like it.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yep. Anyway.
My dad doesn't listen to the show, but if he was listening, he would find out he's getting that book for Christmas.
Oh, okay, right. Yep.
And see, now I've seeded him, and now if he's like, I don't want to buy that book for Christmas. If I talk to him at like Thanksgiving, I'll be like, haha, see, now I know my channel of communication is not secure.
Right, that's it. Damn, this publicly available
That's right.
podcast
That's
is
right.
not secure.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's right. Yeah. Encrypt your messages, folks. It's important.
Yep.
Security.
And like it's probably once a week that I'd like come home, to the Issa's EEV blog and they go, oh, did you hear it, talking about the day or whatever. And, oh, did you hear about this or whatever? And she goes, no. And I usually always go, well, you would if you followed my Twitter feed, and she just rolls her eyes. And like, so like every week she cops that, you would if you followed my Twitter feed, you know all about it. But yeah,
but then what would you talk about at home then? Like, I guess you did.
Exactly. No. She doesn't watch my videos. She doesn't follow me on Twitter. She doesn't listen to the Amp Hour. Sorry, dude.
She might not even listen to you at home. Who knows, man?
No, exactly. Well, apparently I'm the one who doesn't listen to her. So
well, that's how it goes. That's how it goes.
That's it. Catch you next time.
Yeah. See ya. It's been fun.